So the set dressing you may see before you probably doesn't make much sense. What does Jurassic Park and Marvel, well, what Marvel stuff I could find to put on display back there, have to do in the same video? Well, I have here, if what I think it is, a couple of unboxings that I'm going to do. And maybe once you see that, you'll get a better understanding. So I'm just going to. I know this is supposed to be done on camera, but I don't have a lot of room here, and I don't want to knock my camera over. Look at that. This is the Lost World Jurassic Park Peter Stark action figure. Another addition to my... Yeah, like I've said, it's taking me a while, especially with recent events, but I am really just building up the collection I had as a kid. And just so you know, this is not a... Yeah, this is a previously open package like before, which is why I was able to get it so cheap. As you can tell by that loose weaponware. But, well, convenient for me, I can keep the card. Like, as I've stated before, I actually do try to keep these. Keep those. Probably shouldn't the bubble or so, but there's a little cardboard in there, so I like that to hold it in. And let's see what comes with. This is the only Lost World figure I was able to obtain, so my apologies if this isn't going to be as grand as the Raptor or T-Rex, but those were huge figures that came in a box. Okay, so now, as the package said, this guy is supposed to be Dieter Stark, but yeah, common thing with action figures back then, and even today in some cases, though not as often. They do not look a thing like the people that in the actual movie look like. And I've probably said this before, but the reason why is Kenner, who made Jurassic figures back in the day, they made their figures based off of storyboards and concept art before they had actual idea what the actors who would be playing what characters look like. The only exceptions, obviously, being Jeff Goldblum, because he was in the previous film and he was going to be in the new one. And, yeah, just about him. Pretty much only him. He's the only character aside John Hammond, but there never was it. But, yeah. So, likeness isn't the forte when it comes to these figures, but this is a pretty nice one, actually. I've heard some people say this Dieter figure looks more like a rejected G.I. Joe character, if anything. But another interesting thing is the Lost World game on PlayStation actually used this figure. They took this figure and literally ran it through the images through their computers, and they rendered it as the character model in the game. They just added more. They obviously didn't use it as a reference point for when it came to movement, but they did. I find that pretty interesting, seeing as how they used a figure for. So I actually do have other copy figures from more current, but I can't really grab them right now. I don't want to walk away, and yeah, I do that a lot. So yeah, that's basically the gimmick with this guy was. There's supposed to be a magnet in the chest, and that's why there's a little piece of metal in the mouth of this copy right here. Make it look like it's biting him. And interestingly enough, unlike a lot of Lost World and Jurassic Park figures, these look more like real guns than anything. Again, like I've also said, usually weapons on toys in the 80s and 90s, they couldn't resemble real guns very often, except for G.I. Joe. But yeah, especially in the 90s, even G.I. Joe weapons became more cartoonish and they didn't look like real guns. Actually, I think this is supposed to be like a net launcher, but obviously we've got a handgun with a silencer on it. And you didn't really see that in a lot of JP figures. So I've got over here the Snapjaw Raptor, to compare size-wise to a figure from its day. And next to... it's a Star Wars figure, but... if you had the old Kenner figures, these are from the Galaxy Adventure line, they actually do blend in. slightly taller, and the face is obviously more cartoonish than the more realistic Human Kenny figure, but it actually kind of blends in pretty well. And we have it next to a modern day, a couple of modern day figures for Jurassic World. Size-wise, it blends in pretty nicely too. Actually, I think there was a Lost World Triceratops NRC one that was relatively this size. I actually have another smaller Lost World Triceratops that showed up in another video, so... Okay, so, not much to say about that, but you all go over back there. Now, for something that's probably going to be a little bit more in-depth, or at least going to take a while. Come on, stand up. This big box right here. Let me move should contain 100, that's 2 individual orders of 50 each, Marvel Comics. Now, let's just get this. Oh, sorry. The camera didn't get this open. I hope I don't have to reshoot this because I'm not trying to put my face on camera. But I can't exactly tell what it's filming, so I feel like I should get a rig or something to hold the. Oh yeah, from eBay. Which one? Okay, so 25, 50. Oh, this one's kind of... Oh, this one looks like it's either been opened or they didn't seal it right. 100. Let's start with the... Oh, man. I'm kind of glad I turned the camera over for this. Start with this one that might have looked like it wasn't closed properly. Just fix that. Try to solve it as best as I can. Okay, so, and I'm going to just quickly go through each one, see which ones we got. I read from the seller description that there's a mixture of, they are Marvel, and they range from the 80s, the 90s, today, the 2000s, the 2010s, maybe a couple from the 70s or so. But, ooh, it's a nice one to start with. Spectacular Spider-Man number 263. Oh, the first issue of Excalibur. That's a good one. Eternals by Neil Gaiman. I think I got a way to do this. 2 issues of Eternals by Neil Gaiman. Ooh, first issue of Secret Defenders. There's a lot of first issues in here. Star Trek Voyager first issue. Star Trek Starfleet Academy first issue. Not really a Star Trek fan, but hey, I was walking into this blind when I bought it, so yeah. First issue of Steel. Oh, Grip. Infinity. Secret Avengers. Man, they print so many Avengers lines, I tell you. Spectacular. Whoa. For the Life of Corona. Wow. 1991. Yeah, that did not age well. 207. So that's 177, 207. 91 to 93, Spectacular Spider-Man. Whoa, Savage Wolverine. I hope it lives up to that. Ooh, in the first issue, Savage Hulk. The Saga of Crystar, Crystal Warrior. And this one's actually from the 80s. So I have to wonder, was this based on something like a book or a toy line? Because a lot of cartoons from that time were. Fantastic Four. Yeah, we're going into the 2000s, late 90s with these. I'm going to try to get through this as quick as possible so I don't... Another issue of Excalibur. We went from the first to... Wow, the 83rd. And, ooh! A holofoil cover of Uncanny X-Men number 300. Who knows? Maybe they put X-Men number 1 in here. So, okay, just, for now, while I open the next one, I'll pick it back up. Oh! I open the next one. Try to go through all of them as quick as possible. But at the same time, I don't want to risk cutting or damaging them when I open the bag. Okay, for our next stack, we have... Ooh, the Sensational Spider-Man #1. Oh, wait, like I said, I'm going to... Yeah. The Sensational Spider-Man #1. That is a really nice one. Oh, the Sensational Spider-Man #41. From 1 to 41. And it's part 3 of the infamous One More Day storyline. Wow. Yeah, a lot of people hate that, but I honestly I have no opinion on that. Moving on. Well, there might be a lot of Spider-Man in this one. I don't know, maybe they thought what I was looking for based on how many I was ordering, and also because I was getting all Marvel, they picked like the most popular, obviously, choices like Spider-Man, Wolverine, and all that, but I'm glad they did. They could have stuck me with a bunch of characters no one knows about or cares about. I've actually had grab bags like that before. And part 3 of One More Day. Okay, so, wait. Part 3 or 4? Oh! It's the same one, just a variant cover. It's the least hope that a duplicate of the last one. They told me they wouldn't send duplicates. Oh well. This got the first .1 of the relaunch of Sensational Spider-Man. Another Sensational Spider-Man, #23. The Sentry, #1 of 8. Finally, something that's not a Spider-Man title. Ooh, Sergei Aragonés. If you don't know who that is, he worked on Mad Magazine for years. He did the little drawings on the side and a mad look at so and so. Yeah, too bad it ended up going belly up recently. AVX, Avengers v X-Men. Can't tell which one. So it's kind of blocked per, I don't know, 5. Avengers Invaders sketch, but it's promotional material, not really. AVX #8. AVX #12. I'm assuming it's 12. It says round 12. So how long to... New 6 parts... Oh, A plus X. Yeah, so after the Avengers vs. X-Men, they did a team-up series called Avengers plus X-Men. Sort of like, okay, we're cool now. Yeah, we're cool now. See, Avengers plus X-Men #10, #13. It was basically Marvel team-up, only instead of Spider-Man and someone, they did it with the Avengers and the X-Men, basically. One member of each. Slingers, Dusk Falls Over Manhattan. I've never heard of this. Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's more series like this, where the first and second... Yeah, I have no idea what these were. Looks like it's a Spider-Man title based on it. Ooh, Siege Aftermath, Avengers Prime #1. I didn't read Siege, so I'm not sure about that one. Ooh, Justice Like Lightning. Thunderbolts. That was a good series. The closest I could compare it to would be Suicide Squad. It was like Marvel's equivalent of heroes having to work with good guys against even though they didn't want to. She-Hulk. I hear it's getting a Netflix series soon. And not one I'm looking forward to. What I've read is true. Morbius, the Living Vampire #5. Oh, I have to wonder if that's a recent... And speaking of, the first issue of Rise of the Midnight Suns, Morbius #1. That's weird. They put part 3 of a 6-part story in the first issue of a new book. Morbius, Modern Morbius #4. Modern Morbius #8. Ooh, Ghost Rider. 1980s Ghost Rider. Sweet. Generation X #1. And Avengers plus X #5. So I'm going to separate them into 2 piles because I don't want them toppling over. They're really starting to stack up on me. But just give me a sec here while I get the other one. Okay, so 2 down, 2 to go. And it looks like I got them. New Warriors number 10. Okay, that looks like it's the modern New Warriors, but I've heard that the new series isn't launching yet, so. It looks like the writing was on the wall from before, from the very beginning. Oh well, can't win them all. Number 11. That is a nice cover, though. New Warriors. The Initiative number 1. Oh, it's an older New Warriors book, so. A relaunch of the first relaunch of the 90s one. Thunderbolts number 7. Is that Elektra and Bullseye? Yeah, they do. If that is Bullseye, it'd be funny, because, you know, he's the one who killed her and all. Thunderbolts number 5. These are out of order, but they seem to be putting a lot of 4 and 5. The issues are close, but they still end up skipping over some, unfortunately. Check it out. Guess I was right to put the Deadpool game up there. Even though he's only on the cover. It's not a Deadpool story. 17, 15. So like it's a new Thunderbolts story mixed in with the old. 16. 4. Did I just count 4? A number 4? And check this out, from issue 300 to 400. And, looks like this issue came out shortly after 9/11, unfortunately. Yeah. Based on the... The Uncanny X-Men number 227. Go back a few to the... Ooh, an 80s X-Men comic. I love those. Honestly, look, if the X-Men are ever brought into the MCU, I really hope they embrace like the Chris Claremont and Jim Lee era of the characters, because that was arguably the best time to be an X-Men fan, was like from the 80s to the 90s. So 301? Wow, the issue right after the milestone 300 issue. Another issue of Excalibur, Mutants Night Out. Interesting. Peter Parker Spider-Man, Reborn Part 1. Oh, that's an interesting one. The Return of Kane. Adjectiveless Spider-Man number 66. Funny thing, that guy would not only return in that issue, but years later he'd return and actually take up the mantle of Scarlet Spider, who's actually the Spider-Man in that costume, because it's not never mind. I don't have time to get into it. Adjectiveless Spider-Man number 59, a few years back. Armageddon. Thor. Written by J. Michael Straczynski. He was a great writer for Marvel in the 2000s. Number 7. Number 614. Yeah, the numbers on these books, like the comic books, they might as well not even bother numbering them anymore. Marvel: The Lost Generation. That's interesting. It's a 12-issue series. I've got issues 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. Only 5. I'll have to look for the rest of them somewhere else. Cable and X-Force. Number 15. Number 5. Number 10. The fate of the Marvel Universe rests in the hands of this man. Okay. Interesting thing to put on the... Alright, so just one. I'm going to attempt to open the last one, and hopefully it'll be pretty good. The last one was a bit of a disappointment. But hey, we got 25 left. See what we... Going in completely blind. Had no idea what any of these were. That's all part of the fun. Otherwise, why are mystery boxes through the mail so popular? This is only slightly less obnoxious. Okay, so... The Uncanny X-Men number 309. Uncanny X-Men number 308. That's a good one. 471. $4.70, huh? Guess they, like how they seem to, they packaged these up, they put the complete storylines when they did this one. Spider-Man Annual. That's gonna be a good read. Oh, sensational! Another. Does anyone want some of these duplicates? Startling stories featuring the Sentry, huh? And it looks like an old comic from the 50s, huh? I've actually, yeah, I've heard of. Either the cover is supposed to be a tribute to older comics like that, or these storylines were written and drawn to look like they were written back then. So, yeah, I'll find out when I look at it. Wait, number 9, number 8, number 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. This should be an interesting read, depending on what it is exactly. Second issue of Star Trek Voyager. Not a Star Trek fan, but that's what I get. Excalibur number 81, and that is a kind of awkward cover. Interesting story behind that one, apparently. Uncanny X-Men number 310, 311. I think this is Uncanny X-Men, but it's the way this cover, I can't tell. Does it say what number it is? Doesn't even say what number it is. Oh, well, 401. Right after the 400th issue. Issue 404. So, okay, it is Uncanny X-Men. 426. You can see the influence in these 2000s era X-Men comics that were coming from the live-action movies. Jump backwards a bit to 340. January 97. And apparently the X-Men won 5 Wizard Fan Awards in the 90s, in 1996. Uncanny X-Men number 499. Did they put the 500th issue? Let's find out. Go back a bit to 302. And then back further to 297. And to 298. 299. Wow, the lead up to the 300th issue of Uncanny X-Men, and I have it. Sensational Spider-Man, and thankfully it's not a repeat. It's issue 24. And we're just about there. And issue 25. And yeah, so that does it. It's going to take me a while to read through all these, but I do plan to. Heck of a way to kill an afternoon, and I gotta go find a space for that Dieter figure.